Blog Talk Radio.
Greetings, salutations, hempsters. It's a gorgeous day here in the green state of California, and we have a very special guest on today's show. Her name is Beate Kirmse with California Hemp Alliance, and you see, the purpose of HempAware Radio is to spread seeds of awareness and empower you with the crucial knowledge and wisdom that will ultimately inspire you to integrate hemp into your daily life and ultimately encourage you to support other people in your life to start utilizing hemp and spreading that knowledge and wisdom into your career, into your projects, into your lifestyle, and truly utilize hemp to the fullest so that we can revolutionize this planet. And that's exactly why I've invited our next amazing guest, Beate with the California Hemp Alliance. This is an association of companies, research institutions, business organizations, universities in California that are committed to raising awareness about the growth and utilization of industrial hemp. And they provide a platform for dialogue and knowledge transfer among businesses and science institutions and political organizations. And so Beate is an accredited lead green associate V4, and she's assisted Fortune 500 companies with strategic marketing and done some really amazing things. It's an honor and a privilege to have her on today's show. So thank you so much for joining us, Beate.
Thank you so much for having me, Taylor. That was a really great introduction, also for the California Hemp Alliance. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you guys are really innovating, and what it takes is networking and bringing experts together, and I know that's the platform that you've designed. And for our listeners, go to cahemp.org. Get involved today and discover more about what's going on in the hemp industry. If you're a student or if you're part of an organization that's trying to make political changes, this is definitely an organization that you want to be involved in. So yeah, thank you so much for being on today's show. Let's share a little bit of your background with our listeners. Where did you come from? What led you to hemp, and why are you involved in the hemp industry now?
Sure. So I'm German. I grew up in Germany, and I got a job offer probably now 17 years ago from a U.S. Consulting company to join them here in the U.S., which I did, and I immigrated to the East Coast. Actually, I lived in California, in Philadelphia, and then in New York for a long time before I came out to California. And I worked as a management consultant installing big software systems and re-engineered business processes for big companies all along the East Coast for a long time. And then I wanted to change my career path and while I do love projects and, figuring things out, solving problems and making things happen, I kind of felt like I wanted to have a little different content for those projects. Like corporate America, it just didn't cut it for me anymore. Mm-hmm. So, and I wanted to do something, I didn't want to retire from at some point. I just wanted to do something I always wanted to do. That kind of over the years led me to the green building industry, actually, to green architecture, and that's why I became accredited as a lead green associate to learn about that and really join the industry. And now hemp. A few years back, I don't know how, but I did some research online, and I really stumbled over bamboo and hemp. And I got so fascinated by the history of hemp, by its fate, in the 30s in the last century, but also by all the benefits and all the products you can make out of hemp, that I really got more and more involved in it. I bought myself and my husband hemp clothing, hemp seeds. We eat a lot of hemp seeds. I cook with hemp oil. We make a lot of salads. And I just got more and more intrigued. And then since I was interested in the green building industry, I really focused more and more into hemp as a building material. And as it happened last year, we did an addition to we have a little ranch-style house in Southern California, and we wanted to build an addition, and we thought, well, it's not a complete house, it's not, that big, but there are some walls, so why don't we build it with hempcrete and just see if we can do it, if we get it approved, if we get it permitted, and what it would take, and where we could find the materials. So we were really, we had no idea, and it was very hard to find, information online and other people and find the sources. So it was quite the adventure, but we got it permitted. Hemp is not a approved building material in the United States so far, so that was a big hurdle. But we worked through it, and maybe for the listeners, hempcrete is a combination of the kind of the shredded inner core of the hemp stalk, which is like a almost woody cellulose, and it's combined with lime, with hydraulic lime binder and water, and you mix it on site, and you put it in forms like you would put it in like you would put concrete in forms, and you build your walls by building up those forms, and then after 2 days or so, you can actually take off the forms, and you have a beautiful, all-natural wall that breathes and has no chemicals in it.
Wow, I'm so excited to learn more about that. Can people see pictures on the California Hemp Alliance website and kind of the process that you went through?
Yeah, I should actually put a link in. So the California Hemp Alliance is really very, very new. And Taylor, you did a great overview of what we are doing, and our first step is really, to build a picture of what's already available in hemp in California. California has the most businesses working and selling products or hemp products in the United States. And as we all know, California is also on the forefront of a sustainable and healthy lifestyle, which hemp benefits a great deal. So the California Hemp Alliance, we just really started to get ourselves organized, and what we want to do is we want to organize our industry here with the existing businesses and create a platform that those businesses can work together and also work with researchers and universities to build a real industry once we can actually grow hemp here, so to have local raw materials. And so go back to your question. So I haven't so what we also want to do, we want to highlight different industry where hemp can play a big role, and one industry obviously is the building industry. So I haven't put up any pages about that, but I most certainly want to put the link to my blog on it. I created a big blog with the whole construction from beginning to the end of our edition, and there are many, many pictures of the actual build when we did the build with hempcrete. So
awesome. I'd love to share that with our listeners.
Yeah, so I actually, you kind of motivated me to go back to the California Hemp Alliance website and add that on so people can find that and also other links. But in the meantime, they can find the blog under my first and last name.com, which is Beate Kirmse, which is BeateKirmse.com. So beautiful.
So they can see all the pictures. And how many people did it take? 2 questions. How many people did it take to put up this hemp addition on your home? And what was the time frame? Like, how many people did it take, and how long did it take you guys? And kind of what was the square footage of that addition?
Yeah, so the addition, it's a big room. It's almost like 800 square feet. And so it took us, we built, what we did is, since it was an addition to the house, so we had like two walls going out, and then the third wall is like all windows and sliding doors. But so we built the 2 walls out of hempcrete, and then we also built the the wall that was facing the existing building, we also added hemp to that wall, just to make it all the same surface, because we wanted to finish it with a lime render and then finish it with clay, so it all would look the same. And it took the actual build was it took us 2 days to do that, and we had about maybe 10, 12 people helping us, and we had one contractor who kind of led the team to organize everything, and then we had friends and just people I didn't know before who wanted to come and help us and make that experience building with hemp. So it was
cool.
It was a great team effort, and building with hempcrete. It's a very low tech form of building. So there is obviously there are certain things you have to learn, but it's not a steep learning curve, and everybody can help.
Right, and you kind of mentioned the ingredients for this material. So they sound very non-toxic, easy to work with. It's a great opportunity to get people from your community involved to learn something new. And so, just to clarify, you said there was magnesium oxide in lime and hemp hurd in water.
Yeah, so it's actually a lime binder. So there are a few lime binders out there, and they come from Europe, because in Europe, primarily France and the UK, they have been building with hempcrete for the last 15 years or so. So there is already knowledge, and unfortunately, since we can't grow hemp here in the United States, we had to import everything, and the goal obviously is to grow. You can literally grow your own house. I mean, if we can grow hemp here, we can you can get all the materials locally.
Exactly, and that's the goal of the Hemp Alliance, is to really integrate the full spectrum of farmers to the processors, to the business entrepreneurs, to the politicians, to the government agencies, and really create an alliance of all these organizations so that we can start growing here in our own backyard.
Exactly. We really want to create that platform and bring all those stakeholders together, and we want to show the possibilities, and we want to also show what's still missing here. Taylor, what you just mentioned, there are still some processes missing, like we can't grow it here, so we need to farm it, and then it has to be processed, so doesn't exist here either. So we really want to show the possibilities, but also the gaps, so entrepreneurs and people who are interested can step in and work on that, and also researchers and universities can can create research projects. Yeah, pilot programs, exactly. Yeah.
So with regard to actually getting it done, it sounds like, since hemp is not a certified building material, what did you have to do in order to get those permits, and really, what were some of the challenges that you had to overcome?
Yeah, that was really an interesting experience. So we started with an acquaintance. We knew somebody who's an architect, so we thought, okay, let's work with him. What I didn't expect is, making a long story short, we kind of really lost our architect on the way, because, we went to the building department, and once we submitted our plans the first time, and we made them aware that we're using hempcrete, and I provided a lot of information, a lot of testing they've done in the UK, and certifications they have done in Europe. But the first feedback from the building department was, no, you can't do that. I couldn't find it in any approved building material list, and it will take you a very long time to get it approved. And that's where we didn't choose like a green architect. That was our mistake.
Right.
We didn't choose an architect who was interested in new and sustainable building or building materials. So once we got the first no from the building department, he just put his hands in the air and said, well, okay, we tried. Let's go back to the traditional ways of doing things, you know. And, and my husband and I, we just looked at him and say, oh, no. We just started, you know. This is only the beginning.
Oh, I love that attitude.
So we actually...
That's what it takes.
That's what it takes, yeah. And, you know, we didn't know if we would, but we just, at least we wanted to really try it. So we told him, well, you go back and arrange a meeting with the plan check engineer at the building department, and we tried to make our case, you know, and he did that. And then from then on, I really took over. I really was the one who was driving it with the building department and you know, negotiated with them, and we worked on a design with them. So at the end, we were lucky. It was a young guy at the building department, and he was open to it, and he said, look, you know, it's Los Angeles County, so we have very, very strict fire regulations. You know, we live in a very high fire area. We have very strict earthquake regulations. So it's pretty tough here, and we also live in a very conservative area. So there is no green building, you know, and all that. It's very conservative. So he said, okay, you know, I'll try to help you. That here are the things you have to fulfill, and maybe you can't do it with hempcrete since it's not tested, but maybe you can add some other material on to make it work for the regulation. So the challenge really was at the end was to keep all the benefits of a hempcrete wall, you know, not to put any chemicals on it, or also not to close it, to keep the breathability of the hempcrete wall, you know, and that was, but also at the same time accomplish all the building regulations. So we had to get back and forth and be creative for quite a while, but at the end we got it permitted, and I don't know if he just wanted to get rid of me because I was there all the time, or
right. Because my next question. Sorry, did you want to finish that thought?
Yeah, no, so we did, and we actually got a really good design of the wall, which I have on my website, you know, and that can be used now for other people who will build here. And I know there are already people contacted me. For example, there is a couple up in Nevada City. They want to build with hempcrete, and they told me they live in an area where the building department is just used to all kinds of other alternative building materials. So they probably can just do a strict hempcrete wall. You know, they will have it a lot easier. But in any ways, people can now use our design, you know, and build with it. It should be, and then they should be able to get it approved and permitted a lot quicker.
That's great. Yeah, because that was my next question: is how duplicatable is the process that you went through? And is there a place where people can go and kind of do what you did, and hopefully it'll just keep getting easier and easier, especially if we keep doing it in the same county.
Right. Yeah. I would think so. So that's why I put the design of the wall online, and if people, you know, and that's why I also created the blog for people to come, and I'm happy to help and you know, give them all the information they would need. I think it should be a lot easier now to do it, and that's also one point, you know, the California Hemp Alliance wants to push. So on the building side with hempcrete, I really want to push to find a university or researchers to take on as a research project to get hemp certified as a building material here, you know, to do all the tests that are required, because it is, if you do it like as a startup company or it's fairly expensive to go through the certification process. But if a university can do it as a research project and they can use their own lab, it's a lot easier and a lot less expensive.
Exactly. Yeah, that sounds totally accurate. And as far as grants or funding that's available for research like this, I think the universities definitely should get involved, and that's why we are doing this show and supporting you to get the Alliance going as much as we can, so that we can not only do our own testing here, but also collect all of the testing that's already been done around the world. Like you mentioned, the company out of France, ISOCHANVRE, which is ISOCHANVRE.com. They're building something in upwards of 200 hemp houses every year. So there's, already tons of research that has been done. There's organizations, as you mentioned, in England that are already doing this. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the research that's going to be happening here. But I'm curious if you don't mind sharing, if you know off the top of your head and you feel comfortable, what was the cost as far as the materials and the labor to do the addition on your house?
Well, I have never really broken it down. It's kind of, and it's for us it probably wasn't as cheap as it can be, because we had to import everything.
A lot of learning and importation.
It's really just also the shipping. Lime is a heavy material, and hemp is bulky. So that was really made it more expensive, and that's why it is so important for us to grow it here, to have it local.
You're absolutely right. So what are your plans? Obviously, you went back to school, you want to get certified so that you can start consulting with businesses and helping them become more green builders in the world, and that's awesome. We need more people like you doing that. I'm curious, do you have plans to build another structure, or what's your plans for actually working with the hemp into the future?
Yeah, so we have another project. I don't know if we're going to do it next year, but we have another addition, or actually we want to also change out our garage in a studio, and then build another. Hold on a second, I have to turn this off.
And thank you, listeners, for tuning in today. This is your host, Tyler Hemp, with HempAware Radio. You can listen to all the archived broadcasts on hempaware.com/radio. If you've got iTunes, you can go on the iTunes podcast library and listen to this show, share it with your friends, and review all the past hempisodes as well. So, we're listening to Beate with the California Hemp Alliance. We were just discussing, what your next plans are, Beate, for integrating hemp into the world.
Yeah. So we have maybe next year another project, a personal project at our property. But then I also want to reach out now again to universities. There are a lot of universities around LA that are heavily involved in sustainable building and do their own LEED certifications for their buildings, but also have certifications and classes in that area. So I would like to go out and find a partner to build a hempcrete structure around LA next year, maybe on a university ground or somewhere else, and use that as a really big workshop and to introduce it really to the green building industry, because not many people know really about it, or maybe they have heard something but are not quite sure. So there's still a lot of education to be done.
Exactly. And I know there's probably a list of 100 different benefits to utilize hempcrete versus other materials. But can you share with our guests your top 5 favorite benefits or aspects of hempcrete that you appreciate?
Sure. First of all, so there is no toxins in there. So it's all natural. It is what they call it's breathable. So it stabilizes your temperature and the humidity inside, because it really, when it gets hot, it sucks out the heat and the moist out of the air, and then it releases it again when it gets cooler. So it really kind of creates an average, very nice indoor living environment. And they also say always it has very, very, very good acoustic values. And we went away over the summer for a week or so, and we had a friend stay at our house to watch our house and our dogs. And he's a guitar player, and he told me, he brought his guitar to our house, and he told me, man, I played guitar every night in your new room because the acoustics are just phenomenal.
Wow. I'm a guitarist myself, so that's definitely something I value.
Yeah. So that and it so it's really, you know, what they also say. It's just, you know, I can't really explain. When you walk into the room, it's just a good feel in it. It's very comfortable, and I mean, we live like in Southern California in an area we get, you know, oftentimes over 100 degrees or around 100 degrees, and it stays cool. You know, we have a little split unit with a cooler. I don't use it. It just stays cool.
Wow. Yeah, I actually had the privilege and the honor of working with Hempcrete in France. I got to, you know, build a second-story floor in an old, you know, it was like a 300-year-old house, just like a cobblestone house, and they wanted to add a second-story floor, and they used Hempcrete, and it was just so fun to work with, and you know, just like you're saying, you just, when you're around it and you're in the building, when it's done, it feels so clean, it feels so organic. You know, it's just so amazing to work with, and not only that, isn't it much lighter than Hempcrete? It's like 1/10 the weight or something like that.
Of concrete, yeah. It's a lot lighter, and you know, the other benefit is also what you just mentioned. Working with it, it's like also people can do it themselves. You know, it's not high tech, so you can really, you know, use your own labor a lot. I mean, you can save a lot of money by doing that. And then also, you know, it was funny when we took off the forms once, like after 2 or 3 days. The walls smelled so good that actually my husband and I, we moved our bed out. You know, there was no roof yet in the room, but we moved it out next to the wall and slept there because it felt so earthy and, you know, good. And even now with the clay inside now, people still say sometimes when they come in and say, "Oh, it smells so good in here." You know, it's just earthy, that earthy smell, I guess. I don't know. So it's
wow.
So I would love to have a whole hemp house. You know, I would love to build a whole hemp house. That's really a dream.
We all deserve it, and that's why we're doing the work that we're doing. And I'm so thankful to have you on today's show. We just have 2 minutes left, so my final question for you is, if there was one thing that you could encourage our listeners to do today, one action step, what's that one action step that they could do today to help bring hemp back to the U.S.?
I would say buy yourself a hemp T-shirt. You will never wear anything else anymore.
Fabulous. And there's tons of websites that you can go to. If you go to HempAware.com, connect with us there. We've got access to hemp and organic cotton and 100% hemp shirts. We're happy to empower your projects. Beate, it was so wonderful having you on today's show. I look forward to working in concert with you on the California Hemp Alliance and really making it hempin'. Thank you so much for being on today's show.
Yeah, thank you, Taylor, to have me, and I really appreciate what you're doing. You're doing a great deal for all of us to bring hemp back to the U.S. and to California.
Right on. Well, thank you for tuning in today, everyone. This is your host, Tyler Hemp with HempAware Radio. And as we mentioned, you can listen to all the past archived hempisodes on hempaware.com/radio, or you can go to the iTunes podcast library. You can download the archived episodes to your phone or to your device and review it there. And please check us out on facebook.com/hempaware and help spread the seeds of knowledge and wisdom, because that's what it's all about. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make it a blessed day.